Hello and welcome to your July 23rd daily briefing. This is going to be a big one. We have some huge updates today. The Republican Senate relief bill proposal is set to be unveiled later on today. However, before that, we have some previews as to what we can expect, and I think you're going to be very happy to hear what is set to be included. We're talking stimulus checks, more business relief, and a whole lot more. So before we get into it, please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and then let's get into the news. Let's start with the reason why you're all here. Treasury Secretary Steven Mniuchin has confirmed this morning that stimulus checks will be included in the Republican bill. This in itself isn't huge news because just 2 days ago, McConnell said that we can expect to see another round of direct payments. It's still nice to hear confirmation. I'm never going to argue with hearing more confirmation about stimulus checks. But what's new just today is Mnuchin said we can expect the next round of checks to be the same size and same parameters as the first round. This means a one-time $1,200 payment to single filers who earn up to $75,000 per year, with payments scaling down to $99,000 per year, and joint filers who earn up to $150,000 per year, with those payments again scaling down to $199,000 per year, all adjusted gross income. This is huge. Slowly but surely, things are getting more and more clear, and I'm just happy that things seem to be leading in the direction that most people want. No, it isn't a reoccurring $2,000 a month stimulus, but I believe right now the best stimulus is the one that is actually in people's bank accounts that they can actually spend on the things that they want and need and will actually help. Yes, $2,000 a month would be awesome. It would be crazy. It would give so much relief, but hey, I'm happy with at least something at this point. And this isn't the only big news today. We also have a major timeline update that I'm going to discuss later on in this video. But first, back to the income limits just for a second. This actually comes as a bit of a surprise to me after hearing all the talk about the $40,000 income limit that McConnell had mentioned over the Senate's recess just a couple weeks ago. Some agree with that new limit, however, many disagreed with the $40,000 limit. Nancy Pelosi was one of the outspoken people against it. She said, "I think families making over $40,000 a year probably need assistance depending on their family situation," which that's very hard to argue with. Who's to say a family that earns $40,000 a year is struggling, but one that earns $50,000 a year isn't? It's really hard to measure who is and isn't struggling, what the financial situation is of each individual person. You just can't argue with her quote, really. And it turned out that the $40,000 limit wouldn't even save that much on the bill, like on an actual stimulus package. A former Treasury Department economist took a look at the data on the first round of stimulus payments, and he said the original limits were already pretty well targeted at low and middle income families, and that those families would quickly spend the money due to their financial situations. He also went on to say that if the limit was decreased to $40,000, that would mean 20 million fewer families would receive a check, and many who do receive checks still would receive less than full-size payments due to the scaling down of payments after $40,000. This $40,000 limit, despite leaving 20 million families out, would actually only save us, the taxpayers, or save on the total stimulus package $60 billion in total, compared to the $75,000 limit for everyone. So we're either looking at about $300 billion to get everyone a payment below $75,000, or about $240 billion for that $40,000 limit. A pretty negligible amount in the grand scheme of a $1 trillion bill, especially when you're accounting for so many millions of Americans that would be left out with that lower income limit. From here, there's also some interesting news regarding the total package size and what will and won't be included. The entire next package will not be just one comprehensive bill. We found out just this morning it will instead be broken up into several smaller bills. I believe this is probably the case because of some of the time-sensitive issues that we're facing. This way, legislators will be able to tackle the most pressing issues and have a little bit more time to work out the kinks and negotiate the additional parts on issues that either have a lot of debate or we're just not sure or they're not quite as time sensitive. We know that the next bill, the one to be unveiled today, will include $105 billion for schools that will be broken up into $70 billion for K through 12 schools and $30 billion for colleges, and half of the K through 12 funding will be tied to schools holding either in-person or hybrid classes. The bill that's to be unveiled today will include $16 billion more in funding for virus testing and will also reappropriate an additional $9 billion in unspent CARES Act funds to be appropriated for testing as well. We also know it's going to include a liability shield in some form for businesses, schools, hospitals, and government agencies. As of right now, it's looking like a 5-year liability shield. There's a lot of debate going back and forth on that, so we're not 100% on what exactly that's going to look like, but there's going to be some form of liability shield in this bill. There will also be reappropriated funds for additional paycheck protection loans. However, it's still up in the air as to how much more funding will be added to the program. Currently, there's about $130 billion in unused paycheck protection funds from the first rounds that can be reappropriated for a second round. And then I was surprised to read that they're even considering adding more funding for a second round. I just kind of figured it'd be like a first come, first served kind of deal with the remaining $130 billion in funding. So that's extremely exciting for small business owners, self-employed individuals, and contractors. If there is additional funding added for the second paycheck protection round, that will mean much less fighting against all the larger companies to get your small little slice of the pie, to get a little bit more relief for you and your business, potentially your employees, on a second round of paycheck protection funding. I just know there are so many businesses out there that need that second round. Things like restaurants or businesses that were closed for months, open for a couple weeks, and then closed again. They just need that funding. Otherwise, there's just no way these business owners can afford to keep all those fixed costs for, I don't know, upwards of 8 months. We really don't know when things are going to completely open up back again. And again, though, we don't have all the details here yet, but I will keep you updated on this as more information comes to light with the Paycheck Protection Program and, of course, the stimulus package as a whole. Another item that we're not sure yet if it will be in the very next bill or if it will be addressed in future bills is enhanced unemployment. This part is a bit frustrating because the clock is ticking on this issue. We only have a few days until it expires completely. Where it seems we're currently sitting on the issue is to continue payments but at 70% capacity. Currently they're $600, 70% of that comes out to $420 a week. That's just kind of where the debates are landing right now, at least publicly. However, I personally would take that figure with a grain of salt because this topic is so heated that we really don't know how it's actually going to pan out. I just really hope to have an answer here within a few days to report to you all of you who are on unemployment right now and are like, okay, am I going to be broke next week or what's going to happen? So I really hope that we have an answer for you all as soon as possible. I'll let you know as soon as I can find anything. Another piece of serious debate is whether or not to include a payroll tax cut in this next bill. However, this one seems much less likely to be included in the very next bill. Most people just don't like the idea very much. It's expensive and a direct stimulus check makes more sense in most cases. And here is what Steven Mnuchin had to say about the payroll tax cut and the stimulus check just this morning. This is a direct quote from him. "We think the payroll tax cut is a very good pro-growth policy, but the president's focus is he wants to get money into people's pockets now because we need to reopen the economy. One of the issues I think you know about payroll tax cuts are people get the money over time. So the president's preference is to make sure that we send out direct payments quickly so that in August, people get more money." To me, that pretty much says that President Trump has backed down just a little bit on the issue and recognized it's going to be hard to make both a check and a tax cut happen in this same bill within like a week, all in this time crunch. But I'd like to point out the most exciting part of that quote. Mnuchin saying people will get their stimulus payment in August. That's huge. He said the president's preference, just to go back, is to make sure that we send out direct payments quickly so that in August, people get more money. This is so big. It's verbal confirmation from another person that there are going to be payments coming out in August and in people's bank accounts. It's likely going to be a situation where the electronic payments come out in August and then paper checks will come out sometime maybe late August through September and kind of fizzle out through there until everyone receives their payment. Hopefully they have a little bit more figured out this time. So this is actually right in line with my current estimates of the situation. And actually, to be honest, I'd like to point out that I've been pretty dead on with the stimulus check amount and size for months now. I hate to toot my own horn here, but if you look at my videos from a few months ago, I've said on numerous occasions that the check will probably be a one-time $1,200 payment with the same exact parameters as the first check. And way back in April, I said the bill would probably be passed on the 27th or 28th of August, so we'll see how that lines up and we'll see if my psychic powers keep on working. I'm just really happy to be able to report this stuff knowing that it's going to help so many of you out there. You're finally going to get some of this much needed relief. Finally, the last piece on this bill, it doesn't look like state and local government funding will be on this bill that's unveiled today. This is another one of those areas where the Republican budgets and Democratic budgets are so far off. The HEROES Act slotted $1 trillion in funding just for state and local governments, which of course can't fit into the Republicans' smaller package size of $1 trillion total for everything. So there's obviously going to have to be a lot of negotiation going on in that issue. Anyways, this is a preview as to what we can expect with this bill. As the more fine details are unveiled, I'll be looking forward to report anything new I can find on the topic. Check out the link in my description for Webull. If you haven't already, you'll receive 2 stocks completely free once you make an account and deposit $100, and you'll be helping out this channel. Also, consider subscribing, but only if you feel like I deserve it. Until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.